Coming up on today's show, we're going to run through some Perrion Winfrey replacement options. So we're going to go through all three avenues the Browns can go down, which is internal free agency and, of course, the more obscure one, but still possible via trade. Now, today's show is filmed during our live show, which airs every Thursday. So quick self-plug, tune into next Thursday's live show, 5 o'clock Eastern here at the channel. Now, our first option for replacing Perrion Winfrey is, before you go spend money elsewhere, how about you go look what you already have in your cabinet, right? Before we all start dining out, how about we see what we have in our fridge and the pantry, which is inevitably the most boring option. There's a reason why everyone likes to go out to eat when they're hungry instead of looking in their own fridge, because it's more tempting to see what else is out there compared to what you've already spent your money on. But the Browns' defensive line depth chart, it's actually already somewhat full, even without Perrion Winfrey. Let's say Cleveland takes 4 DTs. Dalvin, Tomlinson, Ika, and I think Jordan Elliott, they're all locks to make this roster. Tomlinson, Ika more than Elliott, but I still think Elliott's going to make it. So then that leaves one last spot, and these are the 3 guys battling for it. Tommy Togiai, Maurice Hurst, and Tristan Hill. 2 players they already signed in free agency. So we're going to look at other free agent options, but I think Andrew Berry is thinking, I've already signed a lot of defensive tackles. I've signed 3 defensive tackles. Do I have to go sign another one? Maybe. If I had to pick one of these 3 guys to get that last spot on the 53-man roster, I like Maurice Hurst the most. Now, unfortunately, we did not see him play last season due to injury, and that has been a reoccurring theme for him in his NFL career. But I think Maurice Hurst comes in with the most experience, and when he's at his best, he is better than the other guys. Tristan Hill is a sneaky one, similar to Malik McDowell, a former second-round pick that just never really got a footing with his original team. But Andrew Berry has been known to give out second and third chances, so maybe Hill somehow sneaks onto the roster because Andrew Berry falls in love with that original talent that the Cowboys did when they took him in the second round. Now, when it comes to Perrion Winfrey, I think a lot of us can admit we were wrong, right? I remember being ecstatic when the Browns drafted him, thinking, holy smokes, that's a guy I thought they would get in the second round, but they found him in the 4th round. Andrew Berry, you're a king. Didn't work out. And there's probably a reason now why we know so many teams passed on him and he slipped into day 3 of the draft. So who is someone, just be honest, you got it wrong. I thought Corey Coleman was going to be awesome. Got it wrong. So let me know in the comments section below. Okay, our second option and the much more fun and appetizing one is going out. Let's go see what's on the street and who are some free agents the Browns could pick up. Here's my list of 5 free agent defensive tackles that if I had to put together the top 5 guys, I'd go with these guys. Shelby Harris, Matthew Ioannidis, Chris Wormley, William Gholston, and I told a fib. Ndamukong Suh is not one of my top 5 guys, but he's kind of fun, just big time name. But when it comes to the first 4 names here, if you look at their stats from last season, some pretty solid play altogether. There's a reason why a lot of these guys are free agents in August. They either aren't coming off spectacular seasons or they're kind of approaching towards the end of their career, and teams like to see what they have going within their own farm system before going out and shopping for a, veteran minimum defensive tackle. If I had to pick one of those players, though, Matthew Ioannidis has been a very popular man on the Browns Twitter streets, but give me Shelby Harris. Give me someone last year who had 44 tackles, 2 sacks. He went from Denver to Seattle in the Russell Wilson trade. He led the Broncos in sacks 2-3 seasons ago when Bradley Chubb and Von Miller were hurt. Shelby Harris brings a lot of pass rush upside. And PFF, they had a hard-on for him last year. Here are his grades, 73.2. He ranked 17th. I mean, I know Pro Football Focus is not perfect, but even if they're just a little bit off, if he's a 17th best player in their eyes and they missed the mark by a couple spots, still look like a top 30 defensive tackle last year. For him to be on the market in August or in July almost, surprises the hell out of me. So I think Shelby Harris would be a really fun pickup. He's not the best run stopper. Well, I say that. He had a 76.9 grade, but in his career he's been a better pass rusher. But last year it was somewhat, inverted, so maybe he can continue that trend in Cleveland. But Shelby Harris, he's my top guy. He's at the top of my wish list for the Browns. But let me know who you think the Browns should sign. whether it's Shelby Harris, whether it's Ioannidis, someone else, Ndamukong Suh. I'll say this on Suh. I just don't think he's going to sign anywhere in training camp. He doesn't want to go through training camp. He is an older veteran in his career. He's not interested in going down the Remember the Titans path of, hey, let's get some team bonding in West Virginia. Hell no. He likes his big, comfy mansion in Tampa Bay. He's probably content staying there. And if a team needs help in October, he'll come play for 8-9 games. So for now, I don't think that's going to happen. The third option to replace Perrion Winfrey via trade. And this one is the least likely of the three. I think that's something we can all agree on. They're somewhat in order of how likely they are to go about replacing Winfrey from internal to free agency to trade. But like I said, this option, it just feels the least likely of the bunch because they aren't looking to trade for a starting defensive tackle. Perrion Winfrey was not going to start week 1 in my eyes. So if you aren't looking for a starting defensive tackle, you're probably not looking to give up a lot of assets, or at least some assets, for a DT3 or 4. Maybe you are, and it's not going to cost you that much. Kind of like Denzel Mims going from the Jets to the Lions. That was virtually for nothing. But I think the Browns are likely going to want to hold on to some picks and not give up more, despite, being a little bit shorthanded next year following the Deshaun Watson deal. So for that reason, I think trade is towards the bottom of the priority list. We're going to look at some trade targets, though, in just a second. But make sure you get your very own Cleveland Browns Dog Pound t-shirt. I ordered mine. Has not come in the mail yet, so I'm still rocking my Browns polo. But you can get yours by going to chatsports.com/CLEdog. That link is in the comments and the description of today's video. So I polled some of the hosts here and insiders at Chat Sports regarding some defensive tackles that could be made available for trade. And I want to run through some of these. Neville Gallimore, Matthew Butler, Eddie Goldman, and Javon Kinlaw, all coming from different walks of life in terms of their path to where they are in the NFL. The most notable name, Javon Kinlaw, former top 15 pick in 2020 coming out of South Carolina. He has only played 24 games through 3 seasons. The 49ers look to be trying to move on as soon as they really financially can without just outright cutting him. They did not pick up his 5th-year option. San Francisco has a really good defensive line. If the Browns think that they can recapture that 14th overall potential for a bag of peanuts, because you're not going to get a whole lot from if you're San Francisco, maybe this is a move where Andrew Berry goes, all right, let's strike because I think we can get away with highway robbery here. Now, Kinlaw has not been very productive in his NFL career. The stats speak for themselves, and this is why the 49ers are kind of itching to move on from him. 1.5 sacks through 3 seasons, 5 QB hits, and the last 2 years he has played a combined 10 games. In his career, 45 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks, and 5 QB hits, like we said. But if Andrew Berry, who has done this before with Tristan Hill and Malik McDowell, looks at one man's trash and thinks it's my treasure and I can resurrect him and get him back to that high draft status and that potential, wouldn't be shocked if he calls San Francisco and the 49ers go, you know what, we're kind of ready just to move on altogether. You could have him for a 6th-round pick. And Andrew Berry swoops in and goes, great, I'll take him. Now, we're going to talk about some other trade candidates in just a second, but we have a Bengals channel here at Chat Sports, and the month of July can be a bit slow in the NFL world. But the Bengals channel, surprisingly, has been picking up some subs, and our boss called us out for it here at the Browns Report. So let's take down the Bengals breakdown in subscribers for the rest of this month, and let's get 25 new subs, and let's remind Cincinnati who wore white uniforms first in the NFL and who's going to win Week 1 in Cleveland. The next player we're looking at here is Neville Gallimore, another earlier draft pick for the Dallas Cowboys this time. Gallimore and Tristan Hill just revamping their career in Cleveland potentially. But Gallimore has been better than Tristan Hill. Than Javon Kinlaw. I mean, there's really no other way around it, right? He's put up much better numbers. He's been much more consistent. He just has not emerged in Dallas as someone who could be a player you give a second contract to. So maybe Dallas goes, you know what? Last year of his contract, we know we're not going to re-sign him. We might as well get something for him before he walks in free agency. So that is a name to keep an eye on. Matthew Butler is an interesting choice here. 5th-round pick by the Raiders just a season ago. He only played in 6 games as a rookie. He was a healthy scratch. He never really found a spot in that Raiders locker room. So maybe Andrew Berry looks at this and goes, you know what? 5th-round pick a year ago, I could get him for a 7th, and I'm going to chalk it up to the Raiders just being an all-time dysfunctional organization. And I'm going to put all the blame on Josh McDaniels for him not getting off to a good start. And like, say, Elijah Moore, I believe with a change of scenery and a new coaching staff, we can get more out of Butler. So this would be a very low-level trade. The final guy we're looking at here is Eddie Goldman, a 2nd-round pick by the Chicago Bears back in 2015 out of Florida State. Now, Goldman has not played a lot of football lately. In fact, he has not played a snap since the final game of the Week 18, 2021. Now, he retired in 2022, just a year ago, 13 days after signing with the Atlanta Falcons. He took 2020 off. He opted out due to COVID, and then he did not play last year. So in the last 3 years, he's only played one season, that 2021 season, and he has somewhat regressed since some of his peak days with the Bears back in like 2017, 2018, 2019. But if he really wants to get back into the swing of things in football, and Atlanta has added some more players to the defensive line like David Onyemata, maybe they decide we don't have a spot for Goldman here, so let's just flip him for a pick and he can restart his career in Cleveland. I think if the Browns do a trade, it'll be low level. I know someone's commented Aaron Donald. It ain't happening, and it's not going to be anyone close to Aaron Donald. If it is, I'll be shell-shocked. But we are talking about Blockbuster Barry, and the man is addicted to trades. So you can't quite rule him out. Let's wrap up the show with our Pick a Card segment. Pick a card. Tex, what card are you going with?
Let me go with the Jack of Hearts.
Jack of Hearts. I like it. Way to go for the face card, dude. Okay, I'm going to go with the 5 of Diamonds. 5 of Clubs. 5 of Clubs. That would have been incredible to give myself the lead over the producers again. Off the back iron. All right, that is it for today's show. We'll see you guys later.